Preparing for a drug test involving the tried and true methods of abstinence, time, proper diet, and hydration is the right approach to a good result. But those who are more desperate or don't have the time necessary may resort to more creative or even risky methods in order to test clean. Welcome. My name is David Jolly. It is often unwise to deviate from the norm and try to manipulate a drug test. The risks usually far outweigh the rewards. And as an attorney, I would never suggest anyone try and manipulate any test, particularly when dealing with the court system. But the truth is, humans are creative and have attempted all kinds of manners and means to beat the system and save themselves. Delaying a drug test is not a terrible idea if you can manage it. In my line of work, a client might be given a few different dates to report for a UA test for drugs. At times when my client is a little concerned, they should then choose the latest date given. If the tester agrees to the last date or even a date beyond that, then all parties have agreed to it, and there is no manipulation. Sometimes a few extra days or an additional week or two can make all the difference. One of the concerns I have with scientific testing, whether it be for breath in alcohol cases or by blood in other cases, is the margin of error. No test is perfect. The problem with urine testing is we don't really consider this margin of error when we test. So there is a way where you might be able to remove the higher amounts of THC from testing by simply providing a sample in a certain manner. If you're providing a urine sample, try to provide a sample from the middle of your urine stream, not at the beginning or end of the stream. Apparently, most THC metabolites are present in the beginning and at the end of the urine stream. Also, if you can, avoid providing a urine sample in the morning, as this is when the highest number of metabolites are present, evidently. Now, this would not be considered manipulation, as you're still providing a sample from your body in a manner that is not considered in any way unethical or improper. Detoxification is the removal of a toxic substance from the body. In general, it is healthier and safer to allow the carboxy THC to leave the body naturally. But sometimes the time before a drug test does not allow for the natural way. In such instances, there is yet another option, a detoxification kit. These are kits produced to flush out the marijuana metabolites out of the body and usually come in the form of drinks or pills. It is advised, though, that you be very cautious with these kits, as they are not approved by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. There are times when the dilution of a urine sample is accidental. This can and does happen. But the truth is that most diluted samples are, in fact, deliberate. Drug testers, probation officers, judges, and even some employers know this. The presumption with a diluted urine sample is that you're covering up something. A diluted sample happens when you drink a large amount of water prior to a urinalysis test. The idea behind this practice is the dilution increases the chance of obtaining a negative result. But the testing process is far more advanced these days, so it's likely it'll be picked up as a diluted and not a negative result. It's also considered manipulation and would likely require retesting and great suspicion. Yep, there is such a thing. In fact, it was accidentally created way back in 1828 by chemist Friedrich Wöhler. Well, now you can buy the stuff. Not the stuff from chemist Wöhler, but from many other companies online. The kit is made of a mix of water, urea, creatine, pH balance, and/or uric acid. But, and this is really important, the sale of fake urine is illegal in many states, and in some states, it's actually a felony. The other factor worthy of serious consideration is that most UA testing is monitored, so good luck whipping out your fake urine. just say no. Using someone else's urine instead of your own urine has been attempted for many years. Well, this too is deception and would only work if the test is unsupervised. But many, if not most, tests are now supervised, so this method would likely fail. It's also a really bad idea. There are shampoos that allegedly assist in the faster removal of THC when used in conjunction with other methods of THC removal. Obviously, using a shampoo that allegedly removes toxins from the hair is for hair testing, not other forms of marijuana drug testing. Even Amazon sells these, but they are very expensive. The Macujo, or MAC method, is a 7-step hair cleansing procedure designed to successfully pass drug hair testing. The idea is that the method opens up the hair cuticles and permits the cortex, which is the middle of the hair cuticle, to be flushed free of the THC metabolites. This rather lengthy, expensive, and complicated method advises the use of rubber gloves, shower cap, clean and clear deep cleansing, Heinz vinegar, Tide liquid laundry detergent, old-style aloe toxin-rid shampoo, and Zydot Ultra Clean. This reminds me more of a Breaking Bad episode than a way to actually pass a drug test. It is advised by those in the know that this process be repeated at least 5 times within 3 to 5 days and a few hours before the test. Advocates of this practice believe this process is 90% successful, but works better for thin, light hair and not as well for darker, thicker hair. When I did my research into the validity of this test, I found hundreds of positive reviews and some negative. The problem with this type of research is that it's all anecdotal. So, is there any scientific research or analysis on the Macujo method? Well, sort of. In 2016, there was a paper published entitled Hair Analysis for the Detection of Drug Use. Is there potential for evasion? The research for this published document was a little sparse, as they found little by way of peer-reviewed data, not surprisingly, on this subject. The conclusion that this one and only quasi-scientific paper remotely related to the Macujo method came up with was: further research is needed by way of chemical analysis and trial of the adulterant products sold online and their effects, as well as the development of more sophisticated hair testing techniques. The conclusion we can make is, all we have really is anecdotal evidence that the Macujo method works, most of the time. There are many advocates of CERTO and Shurgel who claim it is a guaranteed way of passing a drug test for marijuana. CERTO and Shurgel are food products using fruit pectin, and according to the manufacturer of CERTO, help simplify your favorite jam and jelly recipes and is an easier alternative to powder varieties. It is basically used to thicken jams and jellies. What the information doesn't say is that CERTO has been used by many to hopefully pass a urinalysis test, and the same is true for Shurgel. According to believers, the products are rich in fiber, and this fiber is not fully digested by the body when consumed in greater amounts. This fiber then passes through the stomach, the small intestine, then through the colon, and is ultimately expelled by a bowel movement. The pectin in the product apparently absorbs to bile from the intestines and prevents the THC metabolite, carboxy-THC, from being reabsorbed into the blood. Then the pectin and carboxy-THC is removed through the bowel movement. At least I think I have that right. The process itself involves the mixture of either CERTO or Shurgel with a 32-ounce sports drink like Gatorade. The solution is then shaken in the sports drink to the point where it has dissolved and then consumed over the next 15 or so minutes. Believers suggest that doing this the night before is good, before the test that is, before you go to sleep, and then again the following day approximately 2 hours before the test. It's recommended by these same people that the individual consume copious amounts of water the morning of the test prior to the second and final round of CERTO consumption. To top it off, it's recommended the individual take a B2 supplement and a creatine monohydrate supplement. The important question that needs answering is, does it work? I don't know. There are thousands of people who swear by this practice. But if you scour the internet, you'll also find advocates of this practice who believe that it works for them, time after time, and equally many who say that it doesn't. So I guess the question next is, what about science? Well, not surprisingly, science hasn't seemed to have tested whether CERTO or Shore-Gel work for passing drug tests. In fairness, they're probably busy working on COVID, cancer, and Alzheimer's. But the National Association of Drug Court Professionals believes that it does not help those wanting to pass a drug test, although they do not have any science to support their assumption either. All right, first, I don't recommend this method if you're drug testing in a court of law. Why? Well, because I'm a lawyer, and it's clearly manipulating the test, and you're potentially putting yourself in greater danger if the court system finds you out. Also, the amount of fluids you're consuming by drinking all of the fluid recommended prior to testing, including water, increases your chances of providing a diluted sample. Providing a diluted sample does give the appearance to some, like a probation officer or a judge, that you're trying to manipulate the system. CERTO or Shore-Gel, fact or fiction? Well, the debate continues. Some research suggests that the use of zinc can help you pass the pesky marijuana drug test. The problem with some of these studies is that they are several years old, and one study did not even use active marijuana smokers as participants. Another problem is that they are not necessarily relevant to the newer testing products used for marijuana detection. There is still a serious question as to whether zinc will have any positive effect in garnering a negative marijuana test result. Niacin, which is also vitamin B3, is a compound naturally found in the human body that serves the purpose of metabolizing carbohydrates. Niacin pills are commonly used as a dietary supplement for people who are suffering from high cholesterol levels or low niacin levels. And it's also often used to increase the health of skin, hair, and eyes. In the context of drug testing, the niacin flush is a method that is supposed to clear out traces of metabolites quickly. The problem with this theory is that niacin's effectiveness varies from person to person and depends on height, weight, and the metabolism of that person. So, does it work? There does seem to be some data that supports the idea that niacin may hasten the removal of metabolites if taken in the correct amount over the right number of days. But the consensus is that if it does work, it's very unreliable. And I'll tell you right now, don't do it. Niacin can be very hard on your liver and can cause serious health problems. Remember, you must always put your health first. Another method practiced by many in preparation for a drug test is activated charcoal. Research and reviews suggest that activated charcoal binds to the metabolites like carboxy-THC, thus preventing their reabsorption into the bloodstream and ending up and speeding up their elimination. This suggests that charcoal could help you pass a drug test faster. The reality is there seems to be no peer-reviewed scientific research that supports the belief that using activated charcoal will help you pass a drug test for marijuana. Some believe that bentonite clay mixed with a little water and eaten as a paste is an excellent way to remove toxins useful in absorbing THC metabolites. I cannot find any science that supports this, and importantly, medical professionals advise against consuming bentonite clay, as it may cause a blockage in your intestines. Further, there are at least 2 brands of bentonite clay supplements that have been found to contain lead. This is one to avoid. There is a laundry list of alternative detox methods many have tried and even recommend to remove proof of marijuana consumption. Such methods include hot and cold showers, dry skin brushing, castor oil packs, vitamin C flush, natural colon cleansing, garlic, tongue scraping, grape tox, the werewolf diet, cryotherapy, Epsom salt baths, baking soda, golden seal, and bleach. And don't ever use bleach because it could kill you. The reality is that some of the suggested detox practices may make you feel good, not the bleach, but there is no evidence that they will actually remove carboxy THC from your system. Be careful and cautious when preparing for a marijuana drug test. Some methods may not harm you, but some may be more fiction than fact. Manipulating the system in ways that may be dangerous to you or are risky should never be considered. Always consider the risks when contemplating unorthodox approaches to the rapid removal of THC, and never contemplate doing anything that will cause you physical harm or risk employment or your legal status in court. For a detailed and free guide to marijuana drug testing, please download your free copy of the Marijuana Drug Testing 101 book. The link is in the description below. And for more videos on cannabis and criminal law, please subscribe to this channel.